It's time for a visit with Jan Dougan, the Health and Human Sciences Educator with Purdue Extension. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here to talk about healthy living and healthy recipes. And it's that time of year when people are starting to preserve some things, or I guess any time of the year there's different things you might be preserving.
Well, you're absolutely right. We think about food preservation as having a season when gardens are available and when people have a lot of produce that they need to do something with and prepare and preserve in some way. But actually there are people that do different kinds of food preservation year-round, because when you think about food preservation, we think sometimes about canning, we think sometimes about freezing, but there's also drying.
Really?
Yeah.
Many people dry things?
You know, I don't think
other than beef jerky?
Well, beef jerky is something that, especially venison season, people do some venison that way. But I think it's gaining a little bit in popularity, and the reason that I say that is some of the grocery stores that I like to visit and just check on what's new on the shelf. I'm noticing a lot of dried foods on the shelf. So a lot of different fruits that are being dried, vegetables that are being dried, kale chips, green beans that are being dried and served as crunchy snack foods. So, I mean, it's something that I think is going to be gaining in popularity.
And we're learning more as we go.
Right, and you know what? You don't really have to have any special equipment to dry. You can invest in a food dehydrator, and that makes it easy because you can set it on your kitchen counter and dry things at a very, very low heat for an extended period of time. But you can also use your oven to dry things in, so you can set your oven temperature to really low temperature and dry in your oven. So it is something that, you know, I'm seeing some interest in, but not as much interest in drying around our area here as in home food preservation, canning and freezing.
Okay. And when you say canning, it's really jars. People are using jars, so they should be called it jarring, not canning. But
that's an interesting idea. So there's two techniques that people use. They either use a boiling water bath canner or they use a pressure canner. And we want to encourage people that if they're unsure about a procedure or a process that they need to use to do something that they want to do, they should call us at the Purdue Extension office. We're easy to get a hold of. It's 812-482-1782. You can call us with your questions. Any kind of question is welcome. We'll try to answer that. We have some excellent complete guide to home canning books available from the USDA. We sell these for $15 if you'd like to have a book handy, but you can also go to our website and you can look online to get reliable, research-based directions. We know that people are always looking for a quick way to do something and taking shortcuts. And that is just something we do not recommend when it comes to home food preservation, because we want your product to be safe for your family.
Food safety is really important, and there's certain temperatures you need to cook things at?
Right, there are, and different processes are different, so you know, we don't really want to go into details on the show today, but we just want everyone to know that it's important to not just go to the internet and find something that looks like, whoa, that's a quick and easy way to do that, and think that it's going to be a safe procedure to use. So we want to really encourage people to only check out resources that are research-based. So if it's a land-grant university, so if you find a recipe from Penn State, they've got an excellent site. Purdue has some resources that are available. We've got some new Let's Preserve publications that are free downloads for people. So if you've got, you know, a way that you can download that and print that and then have that to follow, or if you need us to do that, you can contact us in the Extension office. The actual Center for Home Food Preservation is at the University of Georgia. So they do all the research there to make sure that the processes and the directions that we're sharing with individuals are safe. And we can't hammer that home hard enough, you know, that we really want people to have safe food. There's things that we want to do, but you know what, we just haven't figured that out. And one of the calls I get all the time is about processing your own chicken noodle soup. And everybody really wants to do that, but because of the high starch content and the noodles, We just haven't figured out yet how to get that heat penetration in that jar so that we've got a good product, an edible product, and a safe product. So you know what? You just got to process your chicken and then add your noodles later on when you go to cook it.
If somebody was going to think, okay, I'm going to learn canning for the first time, is it tomatoes the best thing for them to do? Is there an easy, not a shortcut, but an easier thing to maybe practice with before you get something more complicated, or is it all kind of the same?
I actually think salsa is a really easy thing for people to try the first time.
Okay. And everybody likes that.
And most people like salsa, and it's a pretty easy process to follow step by step. If you are a visual learner and you want to see something step by step, the Blue Ball canning book has great pictures in it, and it shows you step by step what to do from picking your tomatoes in the garden to ending up with a jar of salsa.
How long can you keep something that's been canned?
Well, the recommendation is that you only can products that you're going to be able to use within 1 year's time.
Okay.
So it's going to depend upon how you store those products at home. So if you store them at a nice cool temperature, they're going to maintain their freshness better. They're going to be a good product for you to use, but you really need to try to use it within 1 year's time. And I know people get carried away, and then then we store things in a pantry, and then we're like, forget that we even have that in there. And so you also need to practice the first in, first out. So as you store things on your pantry, moving older things to the front and using up those products so that you have a quality product. So we go past that 1 year time, the quality may lessen, but with home canned products, it might be a food safety issue also. So whenever you open a home canned product, if you notice any kind of off odor,
okay,
if you notice any kind of squirting liquid, any kind of bubbles other than fermented products, that might be different. But if your bubbles, off odor, any kind of mold, any signs of spoilage at all, we do not want you to ingest that product.
So if I open it and there's a little mold on the top, it's not okay to scrape that part off and use the rest?
It is not. And my husband talks about doing that as a child with jelly, because the mold would be on the top of the jelly. But what I have learned in different educational opportunities I have to keep myself up to date on processes and safe food preservation methods is that when you think about mold, think about an octopus. So it has these tentacles, and so the mold that you see on top is just that mold.
Yeah.
There is more to the mold down in the product, those long tentacles that are down into the product. So you really need to just discard it.
Okay. And before we move to your vegetables that you have in here, there is one little tool that would really help you in canning, or jarring as I say, and that's a marker. So you can write on there when you did it, because a year from now I don't remember.
That you should label everything that you do in the kitchen, whether you freeze it, whether you can it, whether you dry it. You should put what it is, what the product is. You should put the date that you processed it, and have that on there so that you know. You
think you're going to remember, but you don't.
Right.
Okay.
You don't remember.
Well,
so I did bring a few things with me today. I brought some zucchini and I brought some yellow squash. Okay?
Okay.
So when we think about our new food safety campaign, when we're cleaning zucchini or squash, do you think we rub or scrub under cool running water?
You should scrub those because they have a rough surface.
That is correct. So we would need to use some kind of brush on that to make sure that we get all the dirt off of that. So what was the thing you noticed about my zucchini, Bill?
I was almost going to say that this really isn't a zucchini because it's too small. I'm used to, the zucchinis being about that big.
Right.
Which I don't know why we let them grow that long, and they're always seedy on the inside.
Yes, they would be. Yep. The bigger they get, the more seeds that's in there. So, you can use this whole edible zucchini. In fact, my philosophy is if I can take my fingernail and puncture the skin, then I don't have to peel the zucchini. Now, when you get your zucchinis that are the size of a boat,
yes,
you could not do that, right?
Right.
So where have you learned are most of the vitamins
is in the skin.
Yeah, or
Yes.
right underneath the skin, and then the fiber's in the skin. So we want to try to eat the whole zucchini. So we want to wash it in cool running water, scrubbing it with a brush, and then we want to cut it and use it. And so what's your favorite way to eat zucchini?
Well, really, it's bread, zucchini bread.
Zucchini
What
bread.
I like is zucchini
Okay.
bread. And I guess if it's big enough, you can get more pulp, but I'm learning to eat fried zucchini. And I mean just in an olive oil with some salt and pepper.
So sautéed zucchini.
Okay, sautéed,
Sautéed.
sure, yes,
Yeah.
sautéed.
Yeah, if we say the sauté word, sounds a little healthier, right?
Fried?
Yeah.
I know fried, we think we're going to coat it
But
with
it gives
something
a great
deep fried.
flavor.
Yes.
That olive oil gives it a great flavor. So that's a great way to use it. My new favorite way to use zucchini is to wash it, cut the ends off, slice it vertically down the center, lengthwise, slice it lengthwise, and then I put a little bit of Italian dressing on it and then grill it. Lay them on the grill and grill it, and oh, they're delicious like
And
that.
it doesn't take long.
No,
It
it
can be
does
really
not
quick.
take long at all. Does not take long at all to do. So, you know, zucchini is something that we could freeze if we had too many and we wanted to use, couldn't use all of it up. But it is recommended that we blanch zucchini, and I know a lot of people don't think that's important to do, but it does stop the enzymatic growth. And so, you know, you can take it. It's not going to be a safety issue. It's just might not taste good. So, you know, if you want to grate your zucchini and use it in bread later on, you could do that. Freeze it and use it later on. Oftentimes, in freezing zucchini, it's got water in it, so the water is pulled out of it. And in the bag, in the freezer bag, you'll find water. So, there's mixed reviews out there about whether or not if you want to make zucchini bread, and I've grated zucchini and I've had added water in my bag, what do I do with that water? Do I put it in the bread or not? I drain most of mine off.
Okay.
And I think I get a better product when I do that. So I would recommend that you drain most of the water off that's collected in the bag if you're going to use it in zucchini bread or zucchini cake, chocolate chip zucchini cake. That's delicious.
Can you eat zucchini raw?
Yes, you can eat zucchini
So you could
raw.
take it and chop it up
Yes.
into a salad.
Yes, so
Okay.
you could add it to a pasta salad.
As long as it's not that great big one with a really tough skin.
That's
right?
true.
Okay.
That one is not going to taste good at all, but this young, tender one is going to be yummy. And if you look at the 4-H garden guidelines, this would be the size of a zucchini that would get a blue ribbon at the state fair.
I always think you got to let them grow because you got to get your money's worth. You know, if you're going
Right.
to plant them, you got to get your money's worth. But really, if you're clipping them, they'll grow more flowers, and the
Exactly.
flowers then become more zucchini.
Exactly. I think part of the problem for a lot of people, though, is finding the zucchinis in the garden. So this might be hidden under a leaf and it's green and the leaf is green, so it's hard to find. So there is a variety called a golden zucchini that's yellow. So those are a little bit easier to find in the garden. But anyway, zucchinis are great along with summer squash. Summer squash is another vegetable that's filled with antioxidants, another vegetable that we need to scrub under cool running water before we prepare it. And there's a number of ways we can prepare it. We can grill it, we can saute it, we can bake it. Zucchini's good baked too in a casserole as added, or you know, if you're going to have spaghetti, you could grate the zucchini or grate the summer squash and put in the spaghetti sauce and get some vitamins that way, get some antioxidants that way. I've even seen where people will grate zucchini or grate summer squash and throw it in a blender in a smoothie. So, you know, lots of ways that you can eat it.
Is the skin tougher on this?
Yes.
Okay, would you have to
Yes.
peel that or just slice it thin? If you're, like if
you
you're
know,
gonna
when they're
saute
young,
it?
when they're young, again, I do my finger test. And it worked, I would use the skin.
Okay.
Okay. But
If
it
you
is.
can't punch it with your fingernail, just peel it off.
That's what I do.
As thinly as you can.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Jan, thank you very much for bringing in more information.
Thank you. Thanks for having Purdue Extension here on in.form. We really appreciate the opportunity to share this information.
Well, I know that this is one show that people really do appreciate watching, and they learn so much from you, and I learn more every day. Jan Dougan has been our guest. She is the Health and Human Sciences Educator with Purdue Extension. And really, if you have a question about something in your lawn, your landscaping, your garden, how to can, or you're wondering to know of a really great recipe of some things, give Jan a call. Her and her crew can really help you out. Purdue Extension is a service for all of us to use. Jan,
Thanks.
thank you for being our guest. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We're local people watching local people.